A little bit
What is it
cool.
out there? What is it out there now?
58 degrees, and I still haven't turned on the heat yet. Still haven't turned on the heat.
Well, okay, 58 outside
It's
during
true.
the day is one thing.
It's true.
What is that going down to at night, though?
You know, I would say it's probably like 62 degrees inside. Nice and cold.
No, I mean, what is the outside temperature going down to at night?
Oh, that's a good question. I'd have to guess like 45 degrees, 50 degrees.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
No, not too bad.
It's on the way for you though, for sure.
Yeah. What temperature is it where you're at, everybody in the chat? I'm curious.
Yeah, we're doing okay here. I live in central Indiana. It's 65 outside. It's getting down to 50 at night. This morning 40 though. I took the bike ride over to the gym and there was a little bit of teeth to that one, but as long as it's not raining or snowing, ice, all that crap, we're good. I mean, we're feeling it. We're doing it, and it's something we just keep on putting out there. You don't want to just coast and take the easy way out because then you get fat, lazy, dumb, and stupid. So we don't want any of that for any of us. Always remember,
no easy way out.
No easy way out. Yeah, as the Navy SEALs say, the only easy day was yesterday, right?
Yeah, that's a fact.
Love that one. So today we're going to be talking a little bit more about a topic Brandon and I discussed yesterday on his podcast, which expanding on a very simple investing premise that please don't ever forget it. Take it with you the rest of your life. You ready for it? Here it is. Buy low, sell high. Okay? Buy low, sell high. You remember that? You'll be in better shape for the rest of your days than if you didn't remember it or never heard about it at all. So interest rates are high right now. Okay? Interest rates are very, very high right now. The cost of money is very high right now. So if something is high, I want to be a seller. Again, I want to buy low and I want to sell high. Interest rates are high, so I want to be a seller. So there are different ways you can be a seller when interest rates are high. One way is if you're a bank, for example, you can lend money because you're getting a higher rate of interest to lend that money than you were 1, 2, 3, 5, 15, 18, even 20 years ago. The average 30-year mortgage in the United States is at the highest point today than it has been since 2001. So the highest point. So again, when something is high in value or high in price, what do I want to do? I want to sell. I want to sell high-priced things. I want to buy low-priced things. Just think like this. We talk about in the podcast all the time. It's about money, muscle, and mindset. This is a mindset that we're getting into. Buy low, sell high. It sounds simple, but believe me when I tell you this, billions of people in the world don't know how to do it, don't think about it, lose track of it. Just let it get a hold of them and get the better of them. Don't let that be you. All right? And as you're coming on here, great. We have a nice crowd. Go ahead and tell a couple of your friends because, hey, this is a free service for everybody.
Oh, yeah.
So buy low, sell high. The cost of money is high today. We want to be a seller of that money. Now, how many of you in the last, 3 or 4 months have borrowed money for any reason at all? Any reason at all. You don't have to tell us how much, but it'd be nice if you told us what it was for so we can expand on that. But for any reason, whether it's to buy a house, buy a car, buy a business, buy a commercial piece of a piece of commercial real estate, anything at all, even a credit card that just kind of got away from you for a little bit. Anything at all. Any of you have borrowed money in any shape, way, or form at all in the past 3 or 4 months. All right? So let us know about that. I should be seeing a whole bunch of responses in here. All right, let me check.
Oh, they're coming on in. Credit card
Okay, here we go.
Office supplies. Yep. Nice.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Great. You have, first of all, before I get into the detail here real quick, I'm a proponent, meaning that I'm a believer of borrowing money for some business purposes. Some business purposes. Something that can give you a return. I'm not a proponent of borrowing money to buy a car. Mm-hmm. I'm barely a proponent of borrowing money to buy a house, but they're so expensive that I know most people just can't do it otherwise. So cars, in my family, we do not have car loans. and I will not have a car loan. Okay. I'm not, a car nut. I mean, I'm not going to turn down, a $2 million Ferrari if someone wanted to offer it to me. But if I were ever to buy a $2 million Ferrari, trust me, it would be paid for with cash. Ooh. I would not borrow money to buy that car. I will not borrow money. Many, many, many years ago in my life I did, but not now. I will not borrow money to buy a car. Okay. And if I'm in a position where I'm younger and starting out, or just kind of climbing up, buy a car that doesn't cost a lot, pay cash, and suck it up and pay the $100 a month on one of those Car Shield type programs or AAA or something. So if it breaks down, you're kind of covered. And I know it's a little bit of a bite in the bullet on that, but that'll cost you far less than financing the cost of the car.
True.
And this is because interest rates are so high. It wasn't the case 3 years ago when a home mortgage for a 30-year was 2.7% and a car loan was 4%. Today, those numbers have tripled. They've tripled, okay? I mean, some people are getting mortgages at 8, 9, even 10%. Car loans of 9, 10, 12, 13% are not unusual anymore. So you have to allow the market to help you make decisions on how you're navigating around the world every day, financially, economically, for your business, for your family. That's a key aspect of it. It's a mindset, okay? It's in your head, buddy. It's in your head. That's where it all is. Buy low, sell high. Okay, we've got a couple more. Yep, here's Shawnee. And by the way, for those of you who don't know, what's happening here is there's two different groups that are mixing together tonight. Greg and I, within the Victory Unit Legion, within Brandon's Victory Unit Legion, or Victory Unit rather, we created the Legion, which Brandon has been a member. He's an original member, September 2020. Greg's an original member, so am I. And a few other people, one of whom is with us right now, actually, from the beginning of all that time. There were 7 of us total, including me. Of the 7, there are still 5 original members of that group. But within the Victory Unit, we have a Legion. And if you scroll down on your channels, you'll see a whole bunch of exclusive members-only channels that comes with being in the Victory Unit Legion. And in a minute, Greg will show you how to join that. Which I highly recommend. But there are some people that are with us tonight. You see the names that are with us that are in the Victory Unit Legion, and some are new to us, that they haven't, either maybe this is the first time you're coming into a Trader Town Hall, or you've been here a few times, or maybe you've been coming ever since we started doing this in late March, in which case, if you've been doing that for that long and you're not in the Victory Unit Legion, I would have to kind of question why. But anyway, so the concept of buying low and selling high. Oh, Beetlejuice, son.
Beetlejuice. Son.
Listen, I have to get off track here for a minute.
Yeah. I'm listening.
In real life, let me tell you a funny story. In real life, I'm in my 50s. Okay, I'm not 3,000 years old, founder of the city of Rome, of course. I'm in my 50s, and I grew up near Manhattan, near New York City. Okay, very close to it. And I had a routine when I was, let's see, this would have been 1984, so I was, my early teens back then. I come home from school, I do my homework, eat, and get ready to go to swim practice. And I was a competitive swimmer starting at age 7, all the way through when I graduated high school. College, I was a competitive cyclist, and then I got back to competitive swimming probably 20 years ago. So that's the story there. So every day I'd come home, do my homework, eat, get ready to go swim practice. And when I was eating and doing my homework, I'd turn the radio on. I mean, that's pretty common. And I had a radio station that I put on. It was 92.3 K-Rock. That was in New York City, a pretty big, just normal, average rock and roll station from New York City. And one day in 1984, I come home, I'm following my routine. I get my food, start getting my homework together, start thinking about my swim practice, turn the radio on, and there's no music. And I thought it was broken. Something was wrong. I checked it. Nope, 92.3 K-Rock. But somebody was talking and talking. And the guy wouldn't shut up. Just kept talking and talking and talking. It was Howard Stern. The first day that he was on, I was listening to it back in 1984 from AM to FM. And I'm bringing that up because one of his characters is a character named Beetlejuice. who has been on, one of the people that calls in and is part of the Whack Pack, if you know Howard Stern at all. And we have a person joining us tonight, Beetlejuice Son. So I'm curious, Beetlejuice Son, you're probably a Howard Stern fan, and you have been for a long time. So that's my story about, and I don't even know anyone else. I don't even know anyone else besides, ever, has been listening to Howard that long. Wow, almost 40 straight years it goes on for. All right, anyway, so you borrowed money. By the way, I do support borrowing money for certain business practices because you can get a rate of return. Another example of that, let me show my screen real quick. This will make it easy to understand this. For those who don't know about this in the stock trading world, you can borrow money to buy stocks. We'll take Tesla. It's always a good example for a lot of these things. If I want to buy if I deposit $10,000 into Interactive Broker, IBKR, or into Robinhood, or into Charles Schwab, or wherever, I put $10,000 in of my money. These companies, all of them, if I choose to, will allow me to buy up to $20,000 worth of Tesla. That's called using margin or leverage. But in that case, I'm borrowing their money. I'm using $10,000 of my own, and I'm borrowing $10,000 from them. Does that make sense to everybody? We want to make sure you guys get all this, okay? So I'm borrowing $10,000 from them. In that case, if you and I sit down and we do a thorough analysis of Tesla and we really dig into this, and we feel that over the next 6 months the stock can go from 260 to 500, well, why wouldn't we borrow? They're going to charge us 10%. So for 6 months, we'll actually pay 5% interest on the borrowed money, on the 10 grand or $500. But the stock will let's say it'll double for us, make 100%. Of course, we would do that.
Yeah.
Of course, we would do that. Okay. And to borrow money on a credit card or something where you can pay it back quickly to get office equipment or something up and running so you can start making money, that makes sense. But to borrow money from a credit card to go on a cruise or to buy a consumer item like a phone or a piece of furniture, that doesn't make any sense because these are depreciating assets, meaning they go down in value all the time and your interest rate is going up. Okay. So you've borrowed money, and I appreciate everybody coming in here and here we go. Furniture. Yep. On and on. Great. Borrow money to invest in a course. Yep. This is good. I mean, this is the time to do this kind of stuff. All right. And we'll answer all questions in a moment. Mm-hmm. All right. So, but wouldn't it be great if instead of being a borrower, you could be a lender?
That sounds pretty good to
Wouldn't
me.
that be a switch? Wouldn't that be a flip? Wouldn't that be something different? Wouldn't that be something that sounds like that ballers do?
Yeah.
Isn't that something that a baller would do? Isn't that something that somebody, with an MBA at a fancy college would do? Isn't that something that a Goldman Sachs partner would do? Isn't that something that a sophisticated hedge fund would do? That's right. That's what they do. That's what I do. That's what Greg does. That's what Brandon does. That's what Legion members do. Oh, yeah. And that's what we're going to talk about today, flipping the table around so that you're on the other side of it. You're on the better side of it. Let me go back to Tesla. There's a lot to rebuke Elon Musk for. Violating securities laws is one thing. And stretching the truth, to put it mildly, about things like how far a car can drive on a battery charge or other issues like this. But one thing that I have always admired about him, and I also admired this greatly about Steve Jobs. This was, Jobs passed away many years ago, but back when he was running the shop. But we'll use Tesla because he's still there. Tesla understands how to utilize the market to their advantage inside of their company. Let me give you an example of this. Companies, as you know, need money to operate. It's not as if Elon Musk wrote a check in 2008 when he first started buying into Tesla as an investor. He didn't write a check for billions of dollars for the company to go out and build factories to build cars. That's not how that went. He made some investments in the company. He got other friends to invest in the company. Then they got venture capitalists and hedge funds to invest. And then they took all that money and they built factories to build cars and batteries. Okay. Over the years, the stock price of Tesla has gone up and down. Now, there are occasions when it has been up a lot. And when it's been up a lot, guess what Elon Musk does? I just told you initially, buy low, sell high. When the price of the stock is up a lot, when the price of Tesla stock is high, what does Elon Musk do?
Sells shares.
He sells shares. That's right. He sells shares. Tesla Corporation sells shares of Tesla to the public in order to get money to build more factories or hire more people or whatever it is they want to do. And you know that a lot of what they do, not everything, of course, but a lot of what they do has been done really well. Okay. When the price of money is low, what do you think Tesla does? Price is low. What do you do when price is low? Come on. You buy, right? He's a borrower. He's a borrower of money. So 3 years ago, when interest rates were at all-time lows in American history, Tesla borrowed money. Apple borrowed money. These companies Apple for sure didn't need the money. They had billions in the bank. But interest rates were at all-time lows. They were low. Let's buy when things are low. Let's sell when things are high. Mindset, everybody. This is what we're talking about here. So Apple borrows billions of dollars. They borrowed money for, I think it was a 20-year stretch. This was about 3 years ago, maybe a little longer. I believe they borrowed money for a 20-year period of time, and they paid like 1.95% interest. In other words, no interest.
Yeah.
Free money for 20 years. Like, here's the best way to say that, to comment on that move. Duh. Of course. And they borrowed billions. And today, because they bring in billions every quarter, they don't need that money. They probably have that money left. They can just take it and they can deposit it into Robinhood, and they can get 5% from Robinhood or 5.5% from Interactive Broker. They're paying 1.95. They're getting 5.5. They're tripling their freaking money. You see? So we can do that ourselves too, to a degree. We can't borrow billions, of course. And the time to borrow is over. It will come back. You'll see it again in your lifetime. Not anytime soon, but over the course of decades, this is how things go. You will always see it come around again. I promise you that. That's just how markets will always work. But today, it's not a time to borrow money. It's a time to sell money. It's a time to lend money. You know, JP Morgan is right. They're lending money right now because they can get tremendously high interest rates for that money. Of course, they're being more careful than they were 2 or 3 years ago. Credit standards have tightened, meaning they are examining their lending potential clients much more closely. They're being more strict who they lend to. But trust me, they're trying to lend like crazy because they're getting a huge amount of interest. They're borrowing money from the Federal Reserve at much lower rates than they're lending it for. Okay? They're borrowing at 5%, lending at 10 or 12. So there's a double right there.
Yep.
See?
That's the margin.
They're using that heft. They're using that size. They're using that great credit standard. A few weeks ago, I mentioned to you guys, it's time to make sure that your credit rating is top notch. Okay? Top notch. They're using their credit rating to their advantage. All right. So the mindset is there, right? Everybody understand and is with me on this? Okay. Next. Well, this is fun, Greg.
Oh, yeah.
This is a good time.
This is
We're
where
not
wealth
borrowing
is
money
built.
anymore.
Trader
We're not borrowing money anymore, especially for consumer items. If we're going to borrow for a business reason and we're going to pay 10% interest, then we have to have we can't have a guarantee, but we have to have a very high degree of confidence that we can get 15% or more on the return on that money, which will be worth borrowing at 10%. A very high degree of confidence. Is everybody with me on that too? Like feeling good about it, okay? Feeling really good about it. If you want to run your idea by some people, and well, if you're in the Legion, you know we always do that with each other. And if you're not, run it by me and Greg. Just tag us or put it in trading chat. Let us know. We'll be happy to help out. Okay, happy to help out. All right, so the federal government is the U.S. federal government. Let me explain that. The U.S. federal government is the largest borrower of money on planet Earth. Okay, the largest borrower. There's no other government. There's no pension fund or nonprofit institution or corporation or state, county, local government or individual that borrows more money than the U.S. federal government. The U.S. federal government is in debt for a total of about $32 trillion. Okay? We're not even including or discussing unfunded liabilities like the promises for Medicare and Social Security. We're talking about hard IOUs, money that they owe through bonds. And they do borrow money over various time frames. What you're seeing on your screen right now is if the federal government borrows money today for 2 years, for a 2-year time frame, they will pay you 4.99% per year for 2 years. And at the end of the 2 years, you get your money back and you collected the 5% along the way. If you lend the government money for 10 years, they will pay you 4.56% today for 10 years. They'll pay that every year for 10 years. And then at the end of the 10 years, you'll get your money back. Okay? Now, several months ago, remember, it's 4.56. Several months ago, this same government was paying much lower interest rates to borrow money for 10 years. I mean, look at this. We're going back to the year 2020, and they were paying a little over 0.5% to borrow money for 10 years.
So
0.5%. The 2-year, if they were borrowing for 2 years back then, and this is over, obviously, that their 2-year time frame is past now on that. But they were borrowing money at the COVID lows in 2020 at 15, 20 basis points. Of course they were borrowing money. Everybody knows that when interest rates are super low like that, you borrow money. It's what you do. The government's problem, unlike yours, is different from your situation in life and my situation in life. They must keep borrowing. They have to keep borrowing because they've just jacked up their finances so bad.
Yep.
Longtime listeners and people in our Legion know that I'm dying for my country on the snap of a finger, but my biggest complaint about our country is how we just recklessly spend money and get ourselves into this debt. It's not proper. It's not intelligent use of assets and valuable resources that we've been gifted and given. And I'm very frustrated with that, of course. Anybody should be, of course.
Yeah.
We have to borrow more because we're in so much debt. The money we borrowed 3 years ago on a 2-year time frame has to be borrowed again. Keep funding. We have to borrow we always spend more than we make. Like always. I mean, that's been like that my entire life.
Yeah, we have to do that ourselves.
I think in my entire life, there's only been 1 year in the 90s when the federal government didn't spend more than got upside down with that. I think only 1 year. Only once in my entire life. It's kind of ridiculous. Okay.
Romulus,
right.
In 2020, rates were low. If rates go negative, does that mean that you actually have to pay to hold your money in a savings account? It's not like rates would likely go negative, but was that a possibility during that time frame?
No, not for an American banking consumer, but in Europe, and in Japan, big institutional customers like pension funds, hedge funds, university or hospital endowments, those kind of places.
Yeah.
The interest rates went negative, and they were paying big banks
They had to do
and
that.
the governments to hold their money for them. Stupid.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Oh my
Just
God.
bury it in your back. I don't care if it's $100 billion. Get your hands on that money and bury it.
Yeah.
Don't pay to store it. But that's what was happening, believe it or not. Yes.
Wow.
Great questions coming in. We will get to all those.
Yeah.
All right. So here's one way you can turn yourself into a lender. You can buy a U.S. government bond. Who are you lending the money to? The U.S. government. The safest institution on planet Earth. Okay? The safest investment on planet Earth, by all institutional standards, is a U.S. government bond. Safer than gold. Safer than anything. It is the safest bet on planet Earth. Okay? The U.S. government has never defaulted. We've been borrowing money consistently since 1792 in various times and ways, and we will never default, okay? I mean, 330 million people will die before we let that happen, so it's not going to happen. Safest investment on planet Earth. So you can lend money to them. You can lend money for a 2-year time frame and get 5%. You can lend money on a 10-year time frame and get 4.6%. You can be a lender, okay? You can go out there and be a lender to these places. Now, a great way to buy these issues is not by lending the money directly.
Yeah.
What I do is I buy an exchange-traded fund that then takes my money and invests into the government bonds on my behalf. Here's the thing, though. If I buy a U.S. government bond today, at right now, they'll pay me 5%. You see that right there, 4.99? Yep. Okay, so they're going to pay me 5% for the next 2 years, 5% a year for the next 2 years.
It's pretty good.
If 6 months from now, this rate goes up to 6%, I'm still at 5.
So you're locked in.
I mean, I bought it. I own it for 2 years. I'm stuck at 5. Everybody with me?
Yep.
But if I buy this exchange traded fund, as the interest rate on the 2 year goes higher, if it goes higher over time, they will give more of that money to me every month in that blue dividend check. Yep. See it down there?
That's monthly cash flow straight in your trading account.
And it goes up if the interest rate goes higher. Okay? It goes a little bit higher as the interest rate goes higher. So I get more money. That's a way to mitigate the downside risk of losing out on the better interest rate if I saved my time and my money and I bought it later because the rate went up. Okay? That's another way to go about this. Now, before I get into some way to do this with options, I'm going to turn it over to Greg. He'll do a screen share, and he'll get into some other issues with how we do this as well. Okay? Get on it.
Yeah. Do you want me to show the option trade? Let's do it. So.
And I'm gonna follow up with yours in just a few minutes.
So just so you guys know, I do own 100 shares of IEF stock. So let's type in IEF. So this is the bond ETF that we can buy, we can trade it. And so currently I own the shares, as Romulus was talking about earlier. And also you can trade this and you can actually profit like 100%. So I'm actually going to show an options trade. You can buy call options. But what I actually like to do is I like to do call debit spreads. And again, this is just what I'm doing. I'm not telling you guys what to do, but this is a trade that I think can profit decently well. Basically, what you do is you go over to the March 15th, 2024 expiration date.
Write this down if you have to.
Yep, write this down. And I'm buying the 90 call, but I'm also selling the 96 call to make it a little bit cheaper. And I'll be happy to sell IEF if it goes up to 96. So right now the stock, or ETF in this case, is 91.50. That would be a almost 5% move on the bond, but also you're getting paid along the way. That's on the shares front, but for the options, what's cool about this is $280 turns into $600. And you just have to wait about 6 months. But a little bit more than a double if you understand options, which we teach in the Legion. So let me know if you have any questions.
What he just described to you is a way to really enhance the concept of being a lender. Okay? Being a lender.
So
that's it. I mean, you want to be a lender now. Being a lender means you're selling. Being a borrower means you're buying. That's what that means. And if you're borrowing money today, you are buying high. You're not buying low. If you're lending, you're selling high. And that's what we want for all of you. We want to get your mindset around all this, change it around. So that's exactly a trade that we do around here on a consistent basis for our people. Okay? All right, so that is IEF. Now, there are other ways that you can do this as well, moving around in the option chain, and I'm going to show you just a minute.
Oh, and here's another way to get extra cash flow. This is awesome.
Yeah, so what I have is I own this right here, okay, IEF. Every month, here's my cash flow. You ready? Every month, I get paid, okay, 24 cents. And if you look a couple of years ago, it was 19 cents. I told you the interest rates have gone higher. They pay you more each month. Every month, a check just comes in. The money just comes in. Then every week, I sell the call on this because it has weekly expirations. See, the calls are over here. Here's Friday, 2 days from now. And I can sell a call, $93 call, 4 cents. Not a lot, but I sell them earlier in the week so they're more valuable. They go down. I'll sell the following week. And I might not sell the 93. I might go higher in price depending on the value of the ETF itself at the time. So every month, I'm collecting an interest payment. Every week, I'm collecting an option payment. And eventually, over the next 12 months, the price of the ETF itself has the potential to go higher, as well as everything else that I'm doing. Okay?
That's a win-win-win scenario.
In addition to that, so January of 2025, I can just buy calls on IEF. Okay? I can just buy a $94 strike call that expires January of 2025 for $4.
Super simple.
IEF
and that's
goes
$400 just for you guys that don't speak option geek. $4, he means $400 because it's 4 times 100. That's what options represent.
Everything's times 100, right?
Yeah.
So $400, I can buy one call, and over the next 12 months, IEF goes to 100 or more, which I believe is a high probability outcome. This thing I paid 400 for be worth 1,600, 2,000, 2,500 bucks.
Yeah.
I mean, I can make a 3, 4, or 5 bagger on this. Not a 10x, but I could probably 3x it or 4x it, maybe even 5x it in a year. On that, how am I doing? I'm just being a lender. I'm smart. Selling high. Okay. I'm selling high. That's it. Don't be a buyer at this rate. Don't borrow money today. Lend it. That's how you can do it. There are probably many other ways to get involved in the lending game for your money, but these are ways you can enhance your returns greatly.
Oh, yeah.
All right. I mean, you might be able to find someone in your neighborhood who has a decent business idea and needs to buy a little bit of equipment, and you can lend them money, and they say, they'll pay you 15% a year, which isn't too bad. Hang on a second, everybody. Hold on.
While we're waiting, you guys can see in the trading chat what my position looks like. So that's 100 shares of IEF, and I'm selling the 92 strike call. So what does that look like? Well, I make money as IEF goes higher, but then I'm agreeing to sell my 100 shares at 92 if it happens to get there by Friday. If it doesn't get there by Friday, cool. I just keep the premium collected on the covered calls. And again, you can learn about this with options trading, but I had a choice between buying a car or I could buy 100 shares of IEF and then cash flow. And then when the rates are nice and cheap, that's when I can cash out my IEF and then buy a car. Super simple stuff.
All right, real quick, I got to take this call, everybody.
Oh, yeah, you got it, Romulus.
Larry Fink is not good at investing. He's good at building an investing business. There's a difference. Why is Meet Kevin? Why does he suck at investing? Just because it's like everybody else out, like 99% of everybody else out there, they just make money when the markets go up and they confuse luck with skill. I mean, Meet Kevin, I've watched some of his videos, and when he talks about topics other than directly about trading, he's got some smart points. Okay. I mean, he does. He looks at things at a pretty unique angle and brings up thoughts and ideas that are worth reviewing and thinking about. But trading and investing, no. I mean, he should call us. If any of you guys know him or are in his group, tell him to call us. We'll be happy to help him out and work with him and get his people straight. All right. And Clinton, yes, Clinton did have good monetary policy back in the day when these people could work together. They don't seem to understand that anymore. But I do agree that controlling debt, controlling spending. I mean, you put yourself in such a strong position in life and business if you control your spending and figure this stuff out. Trust me on this. Okay, I got to get going, Greg. I don't know if you want to finish up. You guys are more than welcome to hang out. But I'm going to go attend to this business real quick. Everybody have an awesome day, and don't forget, everyone in the Legion, tomorrow's Thursday, which means Thursday Night Live.
Yep. I'll also be trading live in the morning, so just for about 45 minutes for the Legion. Take care, Romulus. Yeah, CPI tomorrow. Do you guys have any last questions? I'm just going to answer some questions, and then we'll wrap up Trader Town Hall. I know Brandon is going live in the Discord as well, so think of us as kind of like the warm-up crew, if you will. But yeah, definitely. I'll let you know, Tux, when I'm ready to buy a car. And the yields, it pays 4.49% a year. It still pays that out monthly into your trading account. Nice to finally see you, Greg. Curly, you can see me all the time. You can see me all the time. Excuse my rough hair. It's been an intense day. What did I eat for lunch? Eggs. I had 4 eggs. What did you eat for lunch? Is the SPY consolidating? It's going on a little bit of a uptrend. How much to join the Legion? It's $300 a month. Yep. People like to save though with the yearly. Is a $385 call option on IEF with a March 2024 expiration date a good buy? I can't tell you what is or isn't a good buy. I can tell you what I'm doing. I am currently long IEF, so I personally think it's good, but I can't tell you what to do. I don't know your risk tolerance, your investment objectives, and I'm not your financial advisor. But I currently am long. Would buying equity in IEF be a great start? Similar thing. Similar answer. I don't know your goals. Where can you learn everything about options? In the Legion. There also is, Romulus and I kind of share the YouTube channel that I started a few years ago. It's called Greg's Trading Place. Greg's Trading Place? We won't sue. No. Yeah. There's free options content at Greg's Trading Place. What's my favorite indicator? Technically, it's just volume, but I don't know. I like parabolic SAR. I like volume-weighted MACD. I like money flow index. What do I think about a 2DTE 438 SPY? The SPY is a bit overbought, but it could break out for a couple more days. I would say CPI is going to basically make or break that trade. If CPI comes in with a bullish reaction, you're going to get paid well. If CPI comes in with a bearish reaction, you're going to probably have to sell those calls for 0. Oh, that's awesome, Journey to Wealth. Tell them about your fire on options. Helped you out a lot. That's good. I saw you in the Victory Talk podcast yesterday. It was cool to talk with you. You're betting on it coming in lower? Nice. I hope you get paid no matter what. No matter what position you're in, I want you to get paid. Can I join the region for 1 month and if I like it, upgrade to the yearly? Yeah, people do that all the time. In fact, that's actually how people usually do the yearly, is they'll either just do the yearly right away or they'll start with the monthly, and then, oh, I like this. I just want to save some money. Let's do the yearly. And then you're really committed to learning about trading and investing. What happens when an option expires? The extrinsic value goes to 0, and the only value is the intrinsic value, which is dictated by how far in the money that option is. So most of the time, options expire worthless. That's why we, most of the time want to be option sellers unless implied volatility is not high enough and we're expecting an outside move. You're interested in switching career paths to the finance industry. Should I focus on a degree in finance, or are there better ways to get in the industry? I'd say a degree in finance would certainly help you getting into the industry. Try to do internships. Internships can get your foot in the door, do a good job, and then you'll get a lot of good references. That's what I would advise. I worked for Wells Fargo, downtown Wells Fargo, for about 1.5 years before I actually quit to do YouTube and trade, and then I worked closely with Romulus after that. Nice. Shawnee's a beast in the Legion. Yeah, you know what's up. Do you have a YouTube video that teaches that technique? I have a ton of free YouTube videos that teach a ton of different things. It's just more in hodgepodge mode, where the Legion courses, the beginner course for the Legion, it's a lot more organized. There's quizzes. It's structured. You can ask me questions about it. So it's just got that structure when it's in course format. But yeah, I have free YouTube stuff. It's just scattered. Is there anything like a checklist for examining good options plays? Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's a lot. I mean, make sure it's a good deal. Best app slash website for trading. We use Interactive Brokers for the Legion, but you can also do Thinkorswim. You can do TradeStation. If you want just like a small account, Robinhood is okay. It gets the job done. It's not ideal though. Webull has a bunch of hidden risks alongside of it. I'm not saying this can happen, but there's a greater chance that your information could be hacked or your bank account hacked or used against you, because especially if tensions escalate between China and Taiwan, they might use leverage, and Webull could be one of those hidden platforms that they're scheming with. Again, though, that's very unlikely, but there's a greater risk than other brokers, and I just don't see the point in risking it with Webull. I've had a Webull account for many years as well in the past, but I closed it. Any last questions? I want to watch Brandon. Give us a checklist example. Great question. Okay. Here. Let me share my screen real quick, and this will be the last question. I'm just going to say what comes to mind. I've got other CMT notes and stuff like that. But basically, when it comes to like options, like, okay, what is the expected move? So you can see that on the options chain. Tomorrow, SPY has an expected move of $3.46. So I think that that's a fair deal. SPY can move just that much or more. So can it move that distance? So that lets you know if you're getting a good deal on the option. Then you got to use like, okay, what's the projected price target? So you got to use technical analysis to kind of enter the option. So for example, SPY's in this channel today. It breaks out of the channel during Fed minutes. Okay. It's got a little bit of an increase in volume. So at that point in time, you can say, okay, I'm bullish on the SPY. You can take a look. Okay, the options are not stupidly overpriced. Let's copy this 438 call. And SPY is on the left. 438 call is on the right. And you can see at that wedge break, you can spend about $60. And then look, it bursts up in implied volatility. It goes up about 90%. So make sure you're getting a good deal. Use the technical catalyst. Make sure that it is liquid as well. So you want to make sure that you're able to easily get in and easily get out of that option. That's going to be critical. Versus if you're trading something like BKNG booking, this is going to have illiquid options. You're going to have to pay a crap ton of money. You have to pay $500 each time you buy and sell BKNG puts or calls. So that's another good tip. I can't go into everything. That's like a whole new, there's a whole course for that. And you can see that right here. This is the options course. So you kind of got to know the option terminology, know your deltas, know your probability of touching, know how to read the option chain, understand implied volatility, understand how open interest works, when to trade shares versus when to trade options, what type of orders to use for options, different types of options and strategies, quizzes along the way. You got the boss quiz as well. Boss quizzes are basically like the Legion trade alerts. So yeah. Come join the Legion if you have any more questions though and want to work closely with me and Romulus. It's right here. This entire Discord is sponsored by the Legion. So if you enjoy the Discord, you enjoy the Legion. Following the conflict in Taiwan, China with how do I feel about TSM going to the moon? That's difficult to predict. I can break down TSM though. I finished the Chartered Market Technician curriculum. TSM, nice and strong on the day, 1.5%, probably along with other semiconductors. It is coming off a bounce from a higher low pivot from the prior breakout. It has space up to that like 100 area, but I just don't see the point in going on the battlefield with stocks like these that could be affected by news. Go with the slower, safer route. Yeah, chart looks fine. As long as it holds like above 85, ideally above 88, it's in a strong uptrend for the short term. But overall, it has the chance for a larger weekly downtrend, especially if the broad market starts selling. Okay? And yeah, you get access to the options course with your Legion membership. That's what's so cool. We want to give you the best value possible. All right, you guys. It is time to consume food, exercise, and plan some trades for my Legion people. It's good hanging out with you guys. Let me know if you have any questions. Tag me in the Legion chat, or tag me in the trading chat or general chat, and when I see it, I'll help out. All right, peace out, you guys.